So, if you guys remember, a little while ago, I did a video, two videos, of basically what if Spider-Man protected New York, and more recently, what if Batman was New York's hero? Basically, like flip-flopping, the big two of having what if Spider-Man was Gotham's hero, and what if Batman was New York's hero? Essentially, I kind of talked about like a big what if scenario of swapping it. Well, here's another one, and a very interesting one too. What if Thor was Metropolis's hero? Like, what if we took Superman out of the equation and instead brought in Superman? I mean, not what if we took Superman out of the equation and put the son of Odin as Metropolis's protector? So this is going to be a very interesting one. This is like, take out Marvel, take out all of that, and no Superman family or anything like that. It's just Thor. It is just Thor by himself doing this. Like, it is just Thor. You can, even take out, like, Thor's rogues gallery, too. Like, maybe Loki we could keep because he's kind of important, but let's say, like, if Thor came down to Earth and he instead was in Metropolis, what would that be like? What would that all be in thrall? So let's get started. Now, obviously, the big thing with this is that a lot of Superman's rogues are not magic-based. It's not like with Thor, where a majority of his foes are all magic-based, and only a very few are not. Here, Thor, like, all of these villains are all science-based, science and alien-based in the most part. We'll get to Lex in a bit, but yeah. So, the other thing is that Thor is willing to strike down his enemies, and Thor doesn't mind, collateral damage. So I feel like the city of Metropolis would be a little worried about... also, could you just imagine, like, there's a lot of hero worship for Thor Superman. There's a lot of hero worship in Metropolis for Thor. For Superman, I'm already getting tongue-tied, it's late. For Superman, could you imagine if a literal god showed up in Metropolis and was like, "Behold, people of Midgard, I am Thor, son of Odin. I am here to protect your city of Metropolis." And people would be like, if they're not already questioning religion with Superman, could you imagine, like, just that? And God help us, Perry White would be like Great Caesar's ghost, I have a story, and just run paper after paper of paper on paper of, like, the thoughts on Thor, what does Thor mean to the people, what does it mean to religion. Like, Perry White would just be the Daily Planet would just be like, their readership would explode with just viewers and readers and whatnot, and it would just erupt left and right for that city. Thor himself, I think, because you don't have Clark Kent. You do not have Clark Kent here, and Thor would just be like, danger, I must go. It's not like, Thor would just go flying around, and he wouldn't be looking for trouble, because, how Superman really keeps his ear on the ground of what's going on is literally that Superman works at the Daily Planet, I almost said Bugle, at the Daily Planet, and that's how he's managed to keep his, ear on the ground for quite literally everything that has happened in that world. Like, he basically keeps his head on a swivel that whole time. Thor doesn't do that. Thor just goes off, he's just like, Mjolnir away, and goes flying around, runs into trouble, is like, what ho, villain, taste my hammer. That's how it goes. Or someone goes to Thor for help. That's kind of what he is. It's basically if Thor is basically if Superman was Superman 24/7, which we've seen in comics, I know. We're not going to see Donald Blake work at the Daily Planet. Now, we could have the whole Donald Blake thing at the ER. And since we're not having Jane Foster in here, that's going to be another major issue, is that, like, Lois is probably, without Clark Kent, Lois is going to be a cold-hearted cynic about all of her work, and he's going to be like, Fair maiden Lois, you seem to be getting into quite a lot of trouble, I find you in. And she's like, whatever, you misogynistic blonde bastard. Fuck off. You're just a big scary god with a hammer, and we're all just little people to you. And Thor's like, nay, I've come to help you. And she's like, sure you haven't. It's not like where, she may be attracted to Thor, but, like, I feel like Lois, without Clark Kent there to, kind of bring out the more optimistic side of her, I feel like she would be more, this Lois would be more buried in her work. She would be more, obsessed with trying to, like, prove that Thor is just a fake god or something, and it would just be all around chaos. It would just be all around, like, just very depressing. It would all just be very depressing by the end of it all. Like I said earlier, a lot of Superman's villains are made from, like, science and alien technology. Very few are magic. So could you imagine, like, a lot of them are, like, Thor could take them. And you could see them as, like, a lot of Superman's villains, going a few rounds with Thor. I could definitely, like, the Parasite, Livewire. Metallo ain't gonna do shit. The only way you're gonna change Metallo in here is instead of, like, kryptonite, he's using, like, runes or something. That's the only way, because Thor would just be like, green rock, that means nothing to me. Hammer to the face. Like, Darkseid, yeah, like, you have the new, like, Darkseid, Calabac, all of these other villains from the New Gods era. You even have, like, some other villains like Rock, Bloodsport, Terraman, and, oh god, could you just imagine Mixixpidlick? Could you Mixixpidlick as a Thor, like, dealing with Thor? Because Thor, he's not much of a thinker. As much as I love the character, Thor in no way, shape, or form is a thinker, and he's just going to be, like, hammered to the face, and Mixixpidlick's just going to, like, snap his fingers and turn his fucking hammer into, like, Play-Doh or something. So he's going to, like, Thor isn't going to think of a way to make him, say, kill Tipsism 3 times. That's going to be a bit of a problem, is that he's just going to be like, yeah, I'm going to be confused and angry this whole time. But, on the other hand, Thor, well, he doesn't much of a thinking. I think he would stop for a second after getting agitated so much. I think he would stop and be like, this is exactly like how my brother messes with me on a higher level. Okay, now I get it. So it'd be kind of like, I think after, like, giving it a minute and thinking about it, he would probably, like, stop for a second and just be like, ah, now I get it. It's like dealing with my brother. It's like dealing with Loki. And, yeah, let's talk about Lex, obviously. Lex would, if you thought he hated Superman, he would have a fucking rage boner for the Son of Odin. He would just have a full-on rage boner for Thor, because he's like, this is an actual god who thinks he's, better than men. I am not going to let my city believe in some god when the only god they should worship is me. So and Lex would not only use, like, science, because he would be like, this is, Thor's magic is nothing compared to, the might of science. So but he'd also delve into, like, Nordic magic. So I can imagine Lex's, like, power suit as, like, some kind of, like, runic Norse Norse magic energy powered suit or some crazy shit like that. That would be kind of terrifying when you think about it, is that Thor's, like... And the other thing is, too, is, like, Thor would have trouble with that kind of armor and that kind of intellect. But at the same time, Thor will kill you. That's the other thing. And it's not like, that's the thing about Superman, is that even though his archenemy is a human that he could just go, burn, heat vision, and end it, that's not the point of Superman. Thor, on the other hand, he would be like, you're a threat to humanity, you are a threat to my kingdom, because obviously Lex would try to do something to Asgard. He would be like, you're dead. And I think Lex would try to use that to his advantage of making the people fear Thor more. Because Thor, he's not much about, like, instilling hope and whatnot. He's more like, verily I slain thine demon, to the bar I go. So that's kind of another major aspect right there that you have to take in, is that Lex would definitely try to be like trying to turn the people against Thor in any way, shape, or form in this kind of scenario. And again, I feel like Thor wouldn't have that kind of same effect Superman has on the people. Like, Superman has that ability to instill hope and whatnot. Thor, while he does instill like a sense of comfort and safety, there's still a sense of, this guy could probably kill us all if he got mad enough. So that's something you have to look at in this kind of scenario. So this is all kinds of just different. And I really love that. I really like when I thought that was kind of the other thing I didn't really touch on with the I did touch on it a bit with Spider-Man, but I didn't do it with Batman, where I kind of talk about his effect, that character's effect on people. Where Spider-Man, I talked about his effect, like, yeah, he'd be bringing hope to Gotham, this fun, fun, jokey character just swinging around Gotham and being like, haha, have a good day, people, in a city that is completely shitty. Thor would just completely scare people. There's a lot of people. But I do feel like he would have his fans, like maybe Jimmy. Bippo would probably like him too. Bippo would be all for pagan religion, I'll be real. But yeah. But others like Lois and Perry White, yeah, that's a different story. But you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of this idea? What do you think it would be like if Thor was the hero of Metropolis? Just comment below, let me know. Hope you all enjoyed this. My girlfriend's literally in my closet resorting books. She didn't want to be part of this video, so she's hiding in the closet. Ain't that right, babe? Yep, if you heard that knock, that was her. But anyway, she's camera shy. It's alright. She's camera shy. Anyway, alright guys, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.